Section 1. The weight of attachment. Letting go of someone or something isn't just about severing ties or walking away. It's about releasing the immense weight that attachment places on our shoulders. You probably know what I'm talking about. We've all experienced that quiet, yet ever-present pressure, the kind that builds over time as we hold on to relationships or circumstances that no longer serve us. It's like carrying around a backpack, filled with stones that grow heavier with each day. With each argument, disappointment, or unspoken word, that backpack gets a little fuller, a little harder to carry. It's that emotional exhaustion you can feel in your bones, the mental fatigue that makes even getting out of bed feel like a challenge. But here's the catch: this attachment, these relationships that you've worked so hard to hold on to, don't just drain you physically, they drain your soul. And yet, when it comes time to let go, the fear sets in. You resist. You hold tighter, even as you can feel the weight pulling you down. It's almost as if letting go means losing something precious, something that you might never find again. The pain of separation, whether it's from a person, a belief, or a way of life, seems unbearable. You might wonder, what will I be without this person? Without this relationship? The thought of the void, the emptiness, is terrifying. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure if there's solid ground below or if the fall will break you. But this fear, my friends, is exactly what holds you back. It's the fear of change, the fear of not knowing who you are without those attachments. The truth, though, is that while we cling to what we know, however painful it may be, it is in this letting go that we find our freedom. It's only when we finally release the weight that we can begin to move freely again. And trust me, that weight, it wasn't even yours to carry in the first place. It was someone else's. Letting go is not about losing something, but about reclaiming yourself. Section 2. Carl Jung's perspective on relationships. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, had a profound understanding of the dynamics between individuals. He believed that relationships weren't just random encounters or fleeting moments. They were reflections of our inner selves. Every person who enters our life, according to Jung, serves as a mirror, a reflection of something within us that we may not yet fully recognize or understand. Think of it as an echo of our unconscious mind, the way we interact with others, the connections we form, even the struggles we face in relationships, all reveal parts of ourselves we may have otherwise ignored. Jung's concept of the unconscious is central to understanding why letting go can be so challenging. The unconscious is constantly speaking to us, sending subtle signals that something is out of balance. In the context of relationships, this could manifest as feelings of discomfort, frustration, or even resentment. At first, we might brush these feelings off, convincing ourselves that they're just passing emotions or that we're overreacting. But Jung teaches us that these aren't just random emotions. They are messages. Our unconscious is trying to communicate with us, urging us to pay attention to something deeper. When a relationship no longer brings us peace, when it feels like it's draining us rather than nourishing us, it's often our unconscious telling us it's time to release that connection. The difficulty comes when we ignore these signals, holding on to relationships out of fear or habit. Jung shows us that true growth happens when we listen to these inner messages and allow ourselves to make the necessary changes, even if it means letting go. The power of this insight is that we aren't simply reacting to external circumstances. We are responding to the deep, symbolic meaning of those circumstances. Every relationship is a chance to learn more about ourselves, to integrate parts of our shadow, the aspects of ourselves we tend to hide or reject. And sometimes, the act of letting go is the most powerful way to confront and heal those parts. Section 3. Emotional exhaustion as a sign. It's all too familiar. The feeling of being worn out, emotionally drained, as though the weight of the world is pressing down on your shoulders. In relationships, this exhaustion doesn't always come from physical strain, but from the emotional toll of trying to maintain a connection that no longer serves you. Whether it's constant conflict, unmet expectations, or a sense of emotional neglect, that tiredness creeps in like a shadow, dimming the light inside. It's the kind of exhaustion that seeps into your bones, leaving you feeling disconnected, lost, and helpless. But here's the thing that many of us fail to realize. This emotional fatigue is not something to simply endure. It is a wake-up call. According to Carl Jung, these feelings of discomfort aren't random or coincidental. They are signals from the unconscious. When you start to feel emotionally drained or unsettled in a relationship, it's often because something is out of alignment. Your unconscious is trying to tell you that the connection you've been holding on to is no longer nourishing you. It's out of sync with who you are becoming. Yet, the response to this exhaustion is often to push through it. We cling to what's familiar, hoping that if we just try a little harder or give a little more, things will change. But in reality, that emotional exhaustion is a sign that change is already needed. It's your psyche's way of telling you to listen, to pause, and to ask yourself the tough question, is this relationship still serving me? Emotional exhaustion, if ignored, only leads to deeper feelings of resentment, disillusionment, and despair. The longer we stay in relationships that drain us, the more we lose sight of our own sense of self. But when we recognize that exhaustion as a call to let go, we give ourselves permission to stop fighting a battle that was never ours to win. By letting go of the connections that drain us, we free ourselves from the emotional and psychological burden. It's not about cutting people out of your life. It's about recognizing when you need to protect your energy, to invest in your own healing and growth. Only then can we start to rebuild, to nurture the parts of ourselves that have been neglected. Section 4. Fear of the void. When we talk about letting go, there's one major fear that always rears its head: the fear of the void, the emptiness that follows the loss of someone or something. It's easy to become attached to what we know, even if that attachment isn't healthy. In fact, sometimes we stay in situations that drain us because we're afraid of what might happen once that attachment is gone. It's as if the void that comes after letting go is something to fear, something to avoid at all costs. But what if, instead of seeing that emptiness as something negative, we saw it as a sacred space for growth? The void, the space we think of as nothingness, is actually a fertile ground for something much more authentic to emerge. Imagine it like a blank canvas, ready to be filled with new colors, new experiences, and a deeper understanding of yourself. Yes, at first it might feel unsettling. You may experience that deep ache of loss, the discomfort of facing the unknown, but within that space is an opportunity for transformation. Carl Jung once said that growth often requires us to face the unknown, to step into the emptiness with courage. The very thing we resist, the void, is actually the very thing we need to step into to become whole. Without it, we cannot experience true transformation. It's like a tree shedding its leaves in the fall. At first, it looks barren, empty even. But in that emptiness, it makes way for new growth in the spring. Similarly, the void in our lives can create space for new, more aligned relationships, opportunities, and insights to come in. Instead of fearing the void, we need to learn to embrace it. Let go of the fear that comes with it, and allow yourself to simply be. Allow yourself to feel the discomfort and sit with it, knowing that this is the space where something beautiful can take root. You see, by releasing what no longer serves us, we open ourselves to the infinite possibilities of what is yet to come. The void is not the end, it's the beginning of something new. Section 5. The heavy backpack analogy. Imagine, for a moment, that you are carrying a backpack. At first, it's light, almost weightless. But as time goes on, you begin to add more and more items, resentments, fears, unmet expectations. With every passing day, the weight increases, until one day you realize that the backpack has become too heavy to carry. It's no longer just a physical burden. It's emotional, psychological, and spiritual. It's the baggage of every relationship that has worn you down, every attachment that has held you back from moving forward. This is the burden of holding on to what no longer serves you. You may not even realize how much it's weighing you down until it becomes too overwhelming to ignore. And the thing is, the longer we hold on to this emotional baggage, the harder it becomes to let go. It's like a habit we've formed over time, carrying all this weight without really questioning why we're doing it or how it affects us. The burden becomes so familiar that we forget what it feels like to walk without it. But there comes a moment, as Jung would say, when the weight becomes unbearable. This is the point of transformation, the moment when you realize that you can no longer take another step with that backpack on your shoulders. It's not just the emotional pain of carrying it that becomes overwhelming. It's the realization that you are no longer able to grow or move forward while still holding on to it. It's a pivotal moment when you decide, consciously or unconsciously, that it's time to let go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or erasing everything that's been placed in the backpack. It means recognizing that the weight you've been carrying wasn't yours to begin with. It means giving yourself permission to release it, to unburden your soul, and to walk forward, free of the past. This act of letting go is not a sign of weakness or abandonment. It's an act of self-respect and self-love. It's the moment when you choose peace over the pain of holding on. When you decide to let go, you'll feel lighter. The weight that once anchored you down will begin to lift, and you'll rediscover what it feels like to walk freely again. It's like taking off a heavy coat after a long, cold day. The air feels fresher, your body feels lighter, and for the first time in a long while, you can breathe deeply. Letting go is an invitation to return to a place of ease, of flow, and of authenticity. Section 6. Releasing the energy. When we let go of someone or something, there's a common misconception that we are simply walking away from that person or situation. In truth, what we're really releasing is the energy that we've invested in it. Every relationship, every attachment, requires an energetic investment. Whether it's love, frustration, hope, or disappointment, we pour a piece of ourselves into each interaction. Over time, we can begin to feel like we've given so much of ourselves that there's nothing left. And yet, even when we decide to let go, the energy remains bound to that connection. But here's where the real liberation happens. Letting go is not just about distancing yourself physically from someone. It's about releasing that energy. Think of it like unplugging an electrical device that has been draining your battery. The moment you disconnect, your energy begins to replenish. You don't forget what you've experienced, nor do you erase the lessons learned, but you stop giving away your personal energy to something or someone that no longer nurtures you. Carl Jung spoke about the concept of energy flow within the psyche. When we stay attached to people or situations that no longer align with us, we disrupt our natural energy flow. We invest our emotional energy into something that's no longer serving us, leaving us drained and depleted. But when we let go, we free that energy, allowing it to flow back into us, into the parts of ourselves that we've neglected. This is why, after letting go of a toxic relationship, you often feel lighter, clearer, and more centered. You create space for your energy to be reinvested in yourself, your passions, your growth, your well-being. You begin to see things more clearly, hear your inner voice more distinctly, and feel more attuned to what really matters. But releasing energy isn't always easy. It requires us to face the reality that we can't change the past, that the person or situation we're letting go of was never truly ours to control. And this can be a painful realization. However, it's also a liberating one. By letting go of that energetic tie, you open the door to new possibilities, new relationships, and new adventures. You make room for the energy of the future to flow in, unrestricted and ready to nourish you. Letting go, then, is not an act of abandonment. It is, in fact, an act of self-care. It's about choosing to reclaim your energy, choosing to invest in your own well-being instead of perpetuating an unhealthy cycle. And once that energy is freed, you'll find that you have the capacity to dream again, to create again, and most importantly, to connect with yourself in ways you may have forgotten. Section 7. The courage to let go. Letting go takes courage. It's a quiet kind of bravery, the kind that doesn't shout from the rooftops or demand applause. It's the kind of courage that requires you to face your fears, confront your own weaknesses, and walk away from something you once believed you couldn't live without. The fear of loss, of change, is so deeply ingrained in us that it makes the act of letting go feel like an impossible task. It's as though the very fabric of who we are would unravel if we take that first step toward freedom. But, as Carl Jung reminds us, true transformation never happens without a little bit of discomfort. In a world that encourages us to hold on tight, to fight for what we think we deserve, letting go feels like an act of surrender, of giving up. But in reality, it is the opposite. It is an act of reclaiming your life. It's about having the courage to face the discomfort of change and trusting that, on the other side, something better awaits you. The courage to let go is not about being fearless. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. The truth is, change is inevitable, and clinging to what's familiar only makes it harder. Every attachment, every relationship, every situation that no longer serves you keeps you stuck in a cycle of emotional stagnation. By letting go, you break free from that cycle. You allow yourself to evolve, to grow, and to step into a new chapter of your life with courage and clarity. It's a journey that can feel lonely at times, but it's also one of the most empowering experiences you can have. Jung taught us that in order to experience true fulfillment, we must have the courage to let go of what holds us back. This might mean walking away from toxic relationships, leaving behind old habits, or even releasing old dreams that no longer resonate with who we are. But by doing so, we create the space for new opportunities, new people, and new possibilities to enter our lives. The courage to let go is a step toward aligning yourself with your truest, most authentic self. It's about trusting the process. Even when you don't have all the answers, letting go may not be easy, but the rewards are profound. It is the first step toward emotional freedom, and with every act of release, you move closer to the life you're meant to live. That life is waiting for you, and the courage to embrace it begins with the simple, yet powerful act of letting go. Section 8. The power of synchronicity. Have you ever experienced those moments when everything just seems to align perfectly, almost as if the universe is conspiring in your favor? Those moments when you meet the right person at the right time, or when opportunities suddenly appear out of nowhere, just when you need them the most. This is what Carl Jung referred to as synchronicity, the meaningful coincidences that happen when we are in tune with our true selves. Letting go, as it turns out, is one of the most powerful ways to activate synchronicity in your life. When you let go of relationships, habits, or situations that no longer serve you, you are creating space for synchronicities to occur. Think of it like clearing out a cluttered room. Once the room is free of the things you no longer need, there's space for something new to enter. Similarly, when you release attachments and stop holding on to what's no longer aligned with you, you open yourself up to new possibilities. The universe, as Jung suggested, can only send you what you're ready to receive, and that readiness often comes after you've made room, by letting go. The beauty of synchronicity is that it doesn't always happen in predictable ways. It's not something you can force or plan for. Instead, it arises when you are living authentically, when you have aligned yourself with your true purpose and desires. It's in these moments of authenticity that the universe seems to step in, offering you exactly what you need at just the right time. This is not a coincidence. This is the universe's way of responding to your willingness to let go and trust the process. Imagine the possibilities if you lived your life with the awareness that synchronicities were constantly at work in the background. You would stop fighting, stop forcing, and simply allow things to unfold. You'd begin to notice the little signs, the connections, the timing, the moments of serendipity that guide you along your path. This is the magic of letting go. When you release the things that no longer serve you, you align yourself with a greater flow, and synchronicity becomes a natural part of your life. The more you let go, the more you open yourself up to these meaningful coincidences. It's a reminder that you don't have to control every aspect of your life. Sometimes, the most beautiful moments come when you surrender to the flow and trust that the universe has your back. Synchronicity isn't something to seek out. It's something that finds you when you are ready, when you've made space for it. Section 9. Listening to your unconscious. We often find ourselves in relationships, situations, or patterns that don't seem to serve us anymore. Yet, we cling to them, convinced that we either need them or can somehow make them work. But in reality, our unconscious mind is sending us constant signals, whispers, nudges, and sometimes even shouts that it's time to let go. The problem is, we are rarely taught to listen to our unconscious. We're taught to follow logic, reason, and the voices of others. But the wisdom of Carl Jung teaches us that the real answers lie within us, in the deeper parts of our psyche. The unconscious mind, according to Jung, communicates with us in symbols, dreams, and feelings. It doesn't always make sense on the surface, and it's easy to dismiss these signals as mere emotions or fleeting thoughts. But if we take the time to listen, if we quiet our minds and tune into these messages, we'll often find that they are far more insightful than we give them credit for. For example, when you start feeling anxious, uncomfortable, or even resentful in a relationship, these feelings are often signs that your unconscious mind is trying to alert you to something that isn't in alignment with your true self. You might feel emotionally exhausted, drained, or irritated for reasons that don't seem clear at first. But if you sit with those feelings and reflect on them, you may begin to recognize that they are pointing you toward the need for change. Your unconscious is asking you to let go of something that is no longer serving you, even if it's hard to acknowledge that truth. Jung taught us that the unconscious is constantly working behind the scenes, guiding us toward what's best for us, even when we're not fully aware of it. The problem arises when we ignore these inner messages. We tell ourselves that we need to stay in a relationship because it's familiar, or because we're afraid of what might happen if we let go. But by doing so, we suppress our own intuition and remain disconnected from the very guidance we need to live authentically. The key to listening to your unconscious is to be willing to embrace discomfort. It's about allowing yourself to feel the unease, the dissonance, and the confusion that comes with realizing that it's time to let go. When you face those feelings head-on, when you give them space to exist without judgment, you begin to hear your unconscious more clearly. And that's when you'll know deep down that it's time to make a change. When you listen to your unconscious, you're no longer acting out of fear or confusion. You're trusting yourself, trusting your inner wisdom, and making decisions that align with your truest, most authentic self. And that's where real growth begins. Section 10. Transformation through shadow integration. One of the most powerful lessons Carl Jung taught us is the importance of confronting and integrating our shadows. Our shadow, as Jung described it, consists of the parts of ourselves that we've rejected, ignored, or repressed. These are aspects of our personality that we find uncomfortable or even shameful. It could be anger, jealousy, insecurity, or even aspects of our past that we've buried deep within us. These are the parts of ourselves that we often try to deny or avoid because they don't fit into the image we want to project to the world. But here's the paradox. The more we resist these parts of ourselves, the more power they hold over us. The shadow is not something to be feared. It is a vital part of who we are. In fact, Jung believed that true personal transformation can only occur when we face our shadows and integrate them into our consciousness. The process of integration is about acknowledging those parts of ourselves that we've disowned and accepting them without judgment. This process becomes especially relevant when we are letting go of relationships or situations that no longer serve us. Often, the reason we hold on to unhealthy relationships or toxic situations is that they reflect aspects of our shadow. For example, we may stay in relationships because they reflect a deep need for validation or approval, a need that we haven't fully acknowledged. By holding on to these connections, we avoid facing the shadow aspects of ourselves that crave that validation. Letting go, then, becomes a pathway to integration. When we release the attachments that no longer serve us, we also create space to confront and accept the parts of ourselves that we've been hiding. And as we do, we begin to heal. We no longer allow our shadows to control us, but rather we learn to embrace them as part of our wholeness. This is where real transformation occurs, when we stop running from ourselves and instead learn to accept and integrate all parts of who we are. Jung taught us that by embracing our shadows, we come closer to becoming whole. When we are willing to face the parts of ourselves that we've rejected, we step into a fuller version of ourselves, one that is free from the constraints of fear and shame. And in that process, we experience a profound shift. We are no longer limited by the fear of being incomplete, but we become empowered by the knowledge that we are already whole, already complete. The act of letting go, then, is not just about releasing someone else. It's also about releasing the parts of ourselves that we've been afraid to face. By doing so, we allow for growth, healing, and transformation. The more we confront our shadows, the more we step into the light of our true selves. And it is in that light that we find freedom. Section 11. Embracing the darkness. When we embark on the journey of letting go, we often face what Carl Jung called the dark night of the soul. It's that uncomfortable, uncertain period of our lives when everything seems to fall apart. The relationships we thought were essential, the things we clung to for security, suddenly crumble, and we are left in the darkness, unsure of what comes next. This is the space where the true work of transformation happens. But it's also the space where we tend to resist the most. The darkness isn't easy. It's messy, confusing, and full of questions without answers. In many ways, it feels like a void, an emptiness that invites fear and doubt. We've been taught to fear the darkness, to avoid it at all costs, believing that it's something we need to escape from. But Jung teaches us that the darkness is not something to be feared. Instead, it is the fertile ground where personal growth and renewal take place. When we let go, we enter the darkness of uncertainty. But it's in that space of not knowing that we begin to rediscover ourselves. We confront the parts of us that we've kept hidden, the fears, the vulnerabilities, the insecurities that we've been avoiding. And as we face these aspects of ourselves, we begin to heal. We learn that the darkness is not the end, but the beginning of something new. Jung emphasized the importance of embracing the darkness because it holds the key to personal integration and self-acceptance. The dark night of the soul is a moment of reckoning, where everything we've held on to falls away, leaving only the raw truth of who we are. It is in these moments of darkness that we truly get to know ourselves. Without the distractions of external attachments, we are forced to turn inward and ask ourselves the hardest questions. What do I truly want? Who am I without the labels, the relationships, the expectations? The darkness may be uncomfortable, but it is also incredibly powerful. It is the space where transformation begins, just as a seed must break through the soil to reach the light. We too must face the darkness to grow into who we are meant to be. The process of letting go, while painful, clears the path for this growth. As we shed old layers, we uncover new layers of strength, wisdom, and authenticity that we didn't know we had. In embracing the darkness, we come to understand that it is not an enemy to be conquered, but a teacher to be learned from. And when we emerge from that darkness, we do so not as the person we were, but as someone new, someone who has faced their fears, embraced their shadows, and walked through the fire of transformation. This is the gift of letting go. Section 12. Letting go as a path to authenticity. Letting go is a process of reclaiming your authenticity. It's about shedding the layers that no longer represent who you truly are, and stepping into the version of yourself that you've always been meant to be. This is the core of Carl Jung's teachings on individuation, the idea that we must integrate all parts of ourselves, the light and the dark, in order to become whole. Letting go is not about losing something. It's about gaining yourself. So often, we become so entangled in relationships, expectations, and the need to please others that we lose sight of who we really are. We adopt roles, masks, and personas to fit into the world, but in doing so, we forget our essence. Letting go of what no longer aligns with you is an act of rediscovery. It's about clearing away the clutter of other people's expectations and finding your true voice. When you let go, you make space to reconnect with your values, passions, and desires. You begin to realize that your worth is not defined by your attachments or the people in your life. It is defined by your connection to yourself. The more you release, the clearer your sense of self becomes. You stop looking outward for validation and begin to look inward, where you find the peace and strength that has always been within you. Jung believed that true fulfillment comes from living authentically, from honoring your true self and your unique path in the world. Letting go is not a rejection of others. It is an embrace of your own truth. As you release the relationships and situations that no longer serve you, you open up to the possibility of connecting with people and opportunities that are in alignment with who you truly are. You start to attract the things that resonate with your essence, rather than things that only serve your ego or your fears. This process is not without its challenges. As you let go, there will be moments of doubt, loneliness, and confusion. It may feel like you're walking through a fog, unsure of where the path is leading, but this is the journey of self-discovery. You may not have all the answers, But by trusting yourself and the process, you begin to uncover the wisdom and guidance that has been within you all along. Letting go is not about perfection. It's about progress. Every time you release something that no longer serves you, you take another step toward your true self. And with each step, you grow more confident, more centered, and more aligned with your deepest desires and purpose. Section 13. Energy Rebirth. When you finally let go of something that has been holding you back, something incredible happens. Your energy is reborn. For so long, you've been carrying the emotional weight, the attachments, and the lingering connections that drain your vitality. You may not have realized it, but all of that energy you were investing in someone or something that no longer served you was preventing you from accessing your true potential. When you release it, you free up that energy, and it begins to flow back into you, rejuvenating your spirit and giving you the vitality to pursue your goals and dreams with newfound clarity. Carl Jung often spoke about the redistribution of psychic energy. When we stop investing in things that are misaligned with who we truly are, we redirect that energy back into ourselves. It's like unplugging from a broken device and reconnecting to a power source that recharges you. This shift in energy can feel like a sudden surge of creativity, motivation, and even peace. The more you let go, the more your energy becomes available to pursue what truly matters to you. You've probably noticed this already. After letting go of a toxic relationship or a limiting belief, you begin to feel lighter, more alive. The weight of the past no longer holds you down, and the energy that was once spent on worry, anger, or resentment now becomes available for growth, for new relationships, for new opportunities. It's a powerful feeling, like waking up from a long, exhausting sleep and realizing how much more there is to explore. Letting go doesn't just create space for external changes to happen. It also invites a deep internal transformation. You become more aligned with your true self, and your energy follows suit, no longer distracted by the emotional baggage of past attachments. You begin to focus your energy on what truly resonates with you. The more aligned you are with your authentic self, the more your life naturally begins to reflect that alignment. Jung's idea of energy flow is a reminder that we are constantly in motion, constantly shifting and evolving. When we hold on to things that no longer align with our path, we block the natural flow of energy within us. Letting go unblocks that flow, allowing us to experience life with renewed vigor and enthusiasm. The rebirth of energy after releasing what no longer serves us is not just about feeling better in the moment. It's about opening up to the endless possibilities that await when we embrace our true essence. By letting go, you tap into the boundless potential of your own being. Your energy becomes a source of strength, inspiration, and creativity. You begin to move through life with purpose, knowing that everything you need is already within you. And as you let go of the past, you open yourself up to a future full of infinite possibilities. Section 14. Self-acceptance and love. At the heart of the journey of letting go lies a deep and transformative lesson. The power of self-acceptance. Carl Jung believed that in order to truly move forward and grow, we must first accept ourselves in our entirety, including the parts of us that we may find uncomfortable or even unworthy of love. Self-acceptance is not about liking every part of who we are, but about embracing ourselves as we are imperfections, flaws, fears, and all. It's about recognizing that our worth isn't defined by others or by what we've done or haven't done, but by the simple fact that we are human, deserving of love and respect. When we hold on to relationships or situations that no longer serve us, we are often doing so from a place of insecurity or self-doubt. We believe that our value is tied to these external attachments. Maybe we stay in unhealthy relationships because we fear we won't find someone else who will love us. Or we hold on to toxic patterns because we don't believe we deserve better. But this belief is rooted in a lack of self-acceptance. If we truly understood and embraced our worth, we wouldn't need to seek validation from outside sources. We would know, deep in our bones, that we are enough as we are. Letting go is a powerful act of self-love, because it is a declaration that we value ourselves enough to walk away from anything that diminishes us. It's a recognition that we don't need to hold on to what's harmful or what's draining our energy. We deserve peace. We deserve joy. And we deserve relationships that align with our true selves. And when we let go, we give ourselves permission to create space for all of these things to enter our lives. But self-acceptance doesn't come easily. It requires us to look at ourselves honestly, to face the parts of us that we've been hiding or rejecting. Sometimes, we need to confront deep-seated fears and insecurities, but by doing so, we allow ourselves to heal. We stop trying to be someone we're not, and start being the person we are meant to be. This is the true power of self-love, the ability to be comfortable with who we are, without the need for external validation. Once we embrace self-acceptance, everything changes. We stop allowing others to dictate our worth. We stop clinging to relationships or situations that make us feel small or unimportant. We begin to attract people and experiences that reflect our true value. And this, in turn, creates a ripple effect in every area of our lives. By accepting ourselves, we allow ourselves to live more freely, more authentically, and with a sense of inner peace that we've been searching for all along. Jung's teachings remind us that self-acceptance is not a destination, but a continuous journey. It's something we must practice every day. And as we continue on this journey, we discover a profound truth. The more we accept ourselves, the more we are able to love ourselves, and the more love we give, the more we receive in return. This is the cycle of self-love that sustains us, even in the most difficult of times. Section 15. The freedom to reconnect with yourself. When we finally let go of the people, relationships, and attachments that no longer serve us, we experience one of the greatest gifts of all, the freedom to reconnect with ourselves. For so long, we've been tangled in the web of other people's needs, expectations, and judgments. We've prioritized others' happiness over our own, silenced our own voices to keep the peace, and sacrificed our dreams to fulfill someone else's vision of who we should be. Letting go is the process of breaking free from these external influences and rediscovering the person we were always meant to be. In this moment of liberation, there's a profound shift that occurs. We stop searching for validation from others, stop trying to prove ourselves worthy, and instead turn inward, reconnecting with our inner voice, our true desires, and our deepest sense of self. This journey of reconnection is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process of peeling back the layers we've built up over the years. It's the shedding of old identities and the courage to embrace who we are now, in this moment. Without apologies, Carl Jung's idea of individuation, the process of becoming the true self, is at the heart of this transformation. Letting go of what no longer serves us is not an act of abandonment, but an act of returning to our most authentic self. The more we let go of attachments, the more we strip away the false identities that we've created in order to please others or fit into society's mold. As we release these external forces, we uncover the raw, unfiltered version of ourselves, vulnerable, yet powerful in its authenticity. And in this newfound space, we are free to pursue what truly matters to us, no longer burdened by the weight of other people's expectations. We can begin to live in alignment with our own values and desires. We can start to create the life we truly want, instead of one that we think we're supposed to have. This is the freedom that comes with letting go, the freedom to choose your own path, to be true to yourself, and to embrace your unique journey. The beauty of this freedom is that it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about taking each step toward being more of who you are. With all your flaws and strengths, your successes and failures, letting go doesn't mean you've got it all figured out. It simply means that you are no longer holding yourself back from becoming who you are meant to be. It's an act of trust in yourself, knowing that you are capable of creating a life that resonates with your true essence. As you reconnect with yourself, you begin to experience a sense of peace and fulfillment that you may have long forgotten. You find clarity in your decisions, strength in your choices, and joy in the simple act of being yourself. The path forward is no longer clouded by fear or doubt, but illuminated by the light of your own authenticity. Letting go is not just about releasing others. It's about releasing yourself from the chains of past limitations and stepping into the life that's waiting for you. When you allow yourself to reconnect with your true self, you invite a deeper sense of purpose, happiness, and inner peace into your life. This is the ultimate freedom, The freedom to be fully and completely yourself, without fear, without apology, and without the need for external approval.